What up, Big Chiefs, and welcome to the Circles and Blunt Pencils podcast. With me, Cake Champion, the Circles and Blunt Pencils podcast that has no point except when it comes to wrestling. Well, the biggest week in wrestling has come and gone, but unfortunately, I haven't. I'm still here, keeping you up to date, from my point of view, in the world of wrestling. Won't be going into NXT Takeover New York and Wrestlemania 35 on this episode, but we'll have a special episode reviewing both those shows in just a couple of days with those cake brains once again. But there's always Raw and Smackdown to keep you updated on, maybe even NXT and Impact as well. But first, day in history, as always, the 11th of April, what could I find? 20 years ago, WCW Spring Stampede. Yeah, that's right. WCW. Me. Who would have thought? Few good matches here. Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Hack in a hardcore match. Hack was actually Sandman from ECW. If you know your wrestling history, you'll know who Sandman is. Yeah, that's Hack. Such a wasted experiment, I feel. He just didn't suit WCW at all. Conan defeated Disco Inferno. Yeah, that was 20 years ago. The two of them are still working today at Impact Wrestling. Actually, you'll probably hear a bit about that later on. Two of my all-time favourites from WCW, Rey Mysterio Jr. and Billy Kidman, had a match for the Cruiserweight Championship, which Rey Mysterio won. Two members of the Four Horsemen, Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko, defeated Raven and Perry Saturn. Scott Steiner defeated Booker T for the United States Championship. Goldberg redeemed himself for losing to Kevin Nash a few months ago. He beat him, obviously, so he redeemed himself. And Diamond Dallas Page won a Four Corners match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, which was actually his first world title win. He defeated Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and Sting in that match. And Randy Savage was the special guest referee who probably should have been in that match. The dude was he looked like an absolute unit. And Ric Flair was the president, I guess, of WCW at the time. He was also, back then, 50. He was 50. You look at the difference, him at 50 and Batista at 50. And what they could do in the ring. Then again, Ric Flair could do anything in the ring. So yeah, that was the only thing I could find. But I think that was perfect. That was enough, you know. I even sat down and watched it, surprisingly. Sat through the whole thing. Because I don't think much of WCW. Now, I did when I was a kid. But anyway, enough of that. Also, sorry, just remembered this. In 2011, so that would be 8 years ago to the day. First of all, something not that great. Brie Bella defeated Eve to win her first Divas Championship. Obviously, back when the women were referred to as Divas. But also, that same Raw, because this was actually on Raw, Edge announced his retirement from wrestling due to injuries that he obviously sustained from his neck. So, yeah, that was the other thing I also forgot. So, yeah, that was this day in history. I'll get into the wrestling in just a second, but the Hall of Fame was on, obviously in between Takeover and Wrestlemania 35, headlined by DX. Going into the Hall of Fame, and the big thing coming out of that was China finally getting entered into the Hall of Fame because, you know, she deserved it. Harlem Heat went in as well, making Booker T a two-time Hall of Famer, and with DX making Shawn Michaels a two-time Hall of Famer as well. And another two-time Hall of Famer was Bret Hart going in as part of the Hart Foundation. If you didn't see it, some absolute piece of scum decided to enter the ring and tackle Bret Hart to the ground while he was giving his speech. And this dude is an absolute fuckwit. I can't describe it. Actually, I probably could describe it better than that, but I won't. He was immediately attacked by several wrestlers. Even Travis Brown. He actually entered the ring before the invader, I guess. Travis Brown, for those of you that don't know, is, I'll actually say a name, Ronda Rousey's husband. He pummeled his face in a bit, and just a bunch of wrestlers just jumped in there to get this guy out of the ring. And obviously everyone was worried for Bret Hart, and a lot of people were checking on him. And there was about close to 10 wrestlers actually taking this guy out. And Dash Wilder gave him a nice little punch to the face. There's footage of it out there. I don't know where. Maybe YouTube. I've seen a lot of it on Facebook. It should be easy to track down. It's not on the network when it was actually on live, because they sort of run it on a bit of a delay, just in case anything happens, such as that. They blacked out the screen, so you can't see it there. And now, if you actually watch the Hall of Fame on the network, that whole part's completely cut out. And DX had they actually had a good speech. Triple H basically stating that you're not allowed to say Vince McMahon, so they all said it about 1,000 times. And Triple H poking a little fun at AEW, because Billy Gunn is a head trainer there, I'm pretty sure. So Triple H was saying that for the crowd not to say thank you Vince, because he'll come out there and hire everyone so he can fire them. And Billy Gunn said, well, he can't fire me. And then Triple H said, he'll go buy that pissant company just so he can fire you, which was pretty funny. And what I was waiting for as well happened when Billy Gunn was talking. There was an AEW chant. Wonder how Vince felt about that. And also Michaels made fun of him by referring to him being all in. What else? Oh, also on that weekend was the Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Supercard at Madison Square Garden. It was the first sellout wrestling. It was the first wrestling sellout at Madison Square Garden that wasn't WWE related. Actually watched this, and fuck me, it was a good pay-per-view. I'll go through some of the matches here. Jeff Cobb defeated Will Ospreay to combine the Never Open Weight and Ring of Honor World Television Championship. I can't remember who the two women were, but they had a match for I think they call it the Women of Honor, basically their women's title. And after the match, the formerly known as the Beautiful People, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, came out, and I think they're back in Ring of Honor. And I absolutely love Velvet Sky. I'll just go out there and say it. She's gorgeous. Bully Ray is one lucky man. Speaking of Bully Ray, he had a New York City street fight match scheduled against Juice Robinson, but was taken out. So Flip Gordon answered the challenge, and this somehow turned into a 6-man tag team match for nothing except a street fight. Don't know where I was going with that. Dragon Lee defeated, I can't remember his name, but he was from the Bullet Club. Ishimori or something. And Bandito for the Junior Heavyweight Championship, which is a New Japan belt. And I thought that was the best match. I thought that was the best match of the night. But my favourite match of the night was the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match to combine the IWGP Tag Team and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. That was between Evil and Sonata, the Briscoe brothers, Villain Enterprises of PCO and Brody King, and my boys, Bullet Club OGs, GOD, Gorillas of Destiny, Tungaloa and Tamatonga. They came out with both belts. After this match, two has-beens, I'll put it, that have no purpose being anywhere near a wrestling ring, decided to invade, quote unquote, and start beating up, who'd they beat up? The Briscoe brothers. Yes, those two flops were Enzo Amore and Big Cass. They still think they're relevant somehow. This is obviously, this was staged. You could tell by security, but I don't think anyone told Bully Ray, because he came down rushing to the ring and threw Enzo Amore around like the rag doll that he is. So that was good to see. Couple more matches here. Kota Ibushi defeated Naito for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Matt Taven won a triple threat ladder match for the Ring of Honor World Title against Jay Lethal and Marty Scurll. That was also a good match. Matt Taven brought out this 20-foot ladder, it seemed, that just did not move. Definitely one of the better matches as well. And Kazuchika Okada defeated Bullet Club leader Jay White to win back his IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So that's his 5th reign now. Okada is the man. He's had some of the best matches there's ever been in wrestling, and a lot of them have been with Kenny Omega. So yeah. Also, Impact had United We Stand on. Haven't watched that yet. Am planning to watch it, and we'll be going through that hopefully next week. But let's go back to WWE, the Raw after WrestleMania. So Seth Rollins defeated Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, and Kofi Kingston defeated Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. So Seth Rollins basically came out to say that we did it, because he was saying that we were going to beat Brock Lesnar. So he was coming out saying we did it, and was saying something else, and the New Day music hit, and Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods and Big E came out to celebrate, crashing Rollins' parade, so to speak. And Kofi was inspired by the winner-take-all main event of Mania, where they combined the Raw and Women's Championship. So he thought, why not have a winner-take-all world title match on Raw? Rollins accepted. So that was set for the main event. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins defeated the Revival at Mania. Why, I do not know. And they defeated them again on Raw for the tag titles. Why Ryder and Hawkins have the right to defeat the Revival, I will never know. That's a head scratcher there for sure. Baron Corbin came out to gloat about beating Kurt Angle at Mania in Angle's retirement match. Yeah, that's right. Corbin beat Angle, which I actually liked, but I'll get into that obviously next time going over Mania. So Angle came out and basically just took down Corbin, ankle lock, and that was interrupted by the big debut we've been waiting for since Survivor Series. Lars Sullivan finally came out and did something. What he did, I don't know, because I wasn't really paying attention. But I was surprised to see him. Alexa Bliss finally made her return to the ring, and she was claiming that she could beat Bayley and Sasha Banks. Bayley came out to answer the challenge, I guess. And Bliss won that. No Sasha Banks. Apparently something happened at Mania, I've been seeing. And I'm not one to sort of dive into the whole internet speculation and rumours and whatnot, but I've seen this more than once. Actually, more than 3 times, actually. So I just want to see what happened. Hopefully it'll be funny. She's a little pissant. Becky Lynch came out. Oh yeah, Becky Lynch won. Big shock. How she won? Fucking funny. Absolutely hilarious. Great. I'll just keep an ear out, guys. Seriously, the review. It's going to be epic. Couple of days. It's coming. I'll talk about it all then. She came out to cut a promo about winning and basically was ripping off Seth Rollins, saying that we did it. we did it. And then she started talking shit about McDonald and Charlotte for no reason. I guess she just felt the need to. So yeah, she had a little moment. It was also the first time that she's actually held the Raw women's title. Lacey Evans came out, the old catwalk lady that's been doing nothing but walking out, thinking she's stunning and all that. But she punched Lynch in the face. She finally did something other than walk. So interesting to see what happens there. Dean Ambrose came out for his quote-unquote last match in WWE because he's apparently leaving. I call bullshit. I've called bullshit on this since they announced it. There is no way you are announcing one of your superstars leaving when Ring of Honor is now growing. New Japan is the best brand of wrestling there is and has been for the last at least 3 years. And AEW's on the rise. AEW's coming in less than a month now. So there's no way. This is all crap. See, his last match was against Bobby Lashley. And to make it just even more obvious, to me anyway, that it's all crap, was Lashley said, "No one's going to miss you, and don't you worry, I will look after your wife for you while you are gone." Obviously, that's just ridiculous. They didn't actually have a match. They sort of just brawled. And Lashley ended up putting Dean Ambrose through the announce table. And then Renee just ran over, took the headset off to make sure that Dean was all right. Because, you know, she did the same thing when McIntyre absolutely ripped apart Ambrose. Oh, that's right. She just sat there and watched it. It's all crap. Ambrose will be out probably for a while. They make it seem like he's gone. And then Lashley will keep jarring at Renee. And then Ambrose will make his big, shocking comeback to reveal that, you know, he was never leaving. That's what I think anyway. Sami Zayn finally came back. Demanded a match against anyone, and Finn Balor said he would put his newly won Intercontinental Championship on the line. Finn Balor won, so he gets to hold the title for a bit longer now, because last time he won it, he held it for about a week. And then Sami Zayn cut a promo basically saying he hates everyone in the crowd, doesn't give two shits about them, doesn't miss them, never missed them, going heel. Woohoo! Sami Zayn's not a heel, unless he's with Kevin Owens. Elias came out to basically say how pissed off he was about being interrupted at WrestleMania once again. And he's not the only one. I was extremely pissed off. Yes, it was cool to see John Cena come back. The old school gimmick, you know, doctor of thugonomics and rapping and blah, blah, blah. But give Elias his moment. So he basically said, the next person that comes out to interrupt me, this is on Raw, by the way, sorry. Whoever comes out next to interrupt me is a dead man. And then the gong hit. And Elias's face was priceless. The Undertaker came back. The Undertaker came back on Raw and beat up Elias. And Elias was looking for a fight, but it didn't really go anywhere because every time Elias goes out there, he just gets pummeled lately, unless he's wrestling No Way Jose, who's a no-hoper. But yes, The Undertaker is back. Didn't come back at Mania like everyone thought, including myself, basically because the show was so long anyway and too much was happening. Why not save it for the Raw after Mania? Why not? And then, what else? The winner-take-all main event between Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins. Everyone's just excited about this match, thinking, yes, like, someone's going to have both belts. You knew what was coming. There is no way in hell you were giving Seth Rollins the world title or Kofi Kingston the world title only to go to him, okay, you're going to lose it tonight because the other person deserves both belts. It's always getting interrupted. It was interrupted by my boys, The Bar. It's turned into a tag team match, which obviously was won by Kofi and Seth because they're not going to lose anytime soon. And much like what I feel with Elias, the bar just constantly gets beat and destroyed for no apparent reason when they're top 3 tag teams in WWE. Interesting about this show, just a few things that I sort of jotted down for this. There was no Roman Reigns, there was no Braun Strowman, there was no Drew McIntyre. I put down Cena, even though he's never there, but still, like, he came back. So you sort of think, like, maybe he'll come back for another run, but no. There was no Charlotte, even though I think she's property of Smackdown anyway, but she still wasn't there. And McDonald and Lesnar, the 2 UFC stars, weren't there, and won't be back, I hope. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing Lesnar back, as long as he doesn't get the title. As long as he just goes and beats up people. There was probably a few others missing, but that's what I took from it. And no real big debuts, apart from Lars Sullivan, but no one really gave a shit about that. And Lacey Evans did something other than walk. So, but yeah, that was a bit disappointing on that side of things. But at least, like, everyone in NXT still staying in NXT. I can only hope. Hopefully they just get Aleister Black and Ricochet off Raw and SmackDown and put them back, promote them back to NXT, because that's where they belong. I'm sick of seeing those 2 as a tag team as well. They need to just do their own singles thing. Now they've done the Dusty Classic or whatever. Just, yeah, let them be singles again, because that's what they're good at. Put them in a feud. Aleister Black, turn on Ricochet. Put those 2 in a feud. There you go. I said it. Alrighty. SmackDown. Kofi Kingston and the New Day opened the show, basically just to celebrate, 11 years of, like, hard work and whatnot to get to where he is. Just on that, I'll probably talk about it again on the review, but I'm still struggling to get behind Kofi as world champion. I mean, don't get me wrong, he has earned it. There's no doubt about that, but I can't watch SmackDown knowing that he's the best. He's the best on there. And for something that wasn't even, I dare say, wasn't thought of and wasn't supposed to happen like 6-7 weeks ago, it was only because Mustafa Ali got injured and got taken out of the chamber. So they put Kofi in there last minute, and then the crowd just gravitated towards him. So yeah, I will accept it, but I just can't get behind it. Not yet anyway. He hasn't done anything with it yet, except just wear it and have tag team matches. So yeah, they had their celebration, which was once again interrupted by the bar. Basically, saying to Kofi, you're welcome, because you would have lost. And the crowd was awesome, chanting "shut the fuck up" to Sheamus. The look on Xavier Woods' face when he heard that was priceless as well. But the bar challenged the New Day to a 6-man tag, and the New Day was basically saying, "Oh, you're shit at math. Like, there's only 2 of you." And they're like, "No. Like, when we were at Raw last night, we made a friend, and out came Drew McIntyre." So not on Raw, comes out on SmackDown. There was a 6-man tag also between Aleister Black, Ricochet, and Ali, no longer Mustafa Ali, against Rusev, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Andrade. And the only reason I bring this up is because after the match, Randy Orton came out and did what he does best, deliver an RKO to Ali. When he gets out of the ring, walking up the ramp, he's putting his hands in front of his eyes, saying, I can't see, turn the lights off. He was taking a shot or a dig at WWE, because during his match against AJ Styles at WrestleMania, one of the lights towards one of the sections was just blaring in their face, the crowd's face, and couldn't see the ring at all. So he was taking the piss there, which was just absolutely awesome. Randy Orton can do whatever the fuck he wants. And then Kevin Owens came out and delivered a KO stunner to Andrade. Yeah, I don't know if it's called the KO stunner, but I think it should be now. And if it's not, trademark. R-Truth came out to put everyone to sleep with Carmella. Basically congratulating Carmella for beating Andre the Giant in the Royal Rumble because he's just stupid. It's old now. It's annoying. And the way Carmella is acting is even worse. She's just stupid now. She needs to go back to being Mella Money. She needs to go back to that because this is just crap. And they do their little dance break shit again, which is so annoying. Yet people like it for some reason. You're all idiots. That's all I got to say. I don't like it. So you, to me, are idiots if you like that. Thank God. Thank God. Samoa Joe came out, put an end to it. Basically saying he could defeat anyone in less than 60 seconds, put truth to sleep. And then Braun Strowman came out, and him and Joe were having a bit of a tiff, and Joe tried the Coquina clutch on him, couldn't quite get him to the ground, but escaped with his belt. That'd be a good matchup, I feel. Strowman and Joe. The Iconics came out to celebrate because they won the women's tag team titles, which was absolutely awesome to see. And they challenged Brooklyn's finest tag team. They're like 46-0. They were nobodies, but still, they'd never lost. And they put the titles on the line, I'm pretty sure. Fighting champions. You know what? That was absolutely iconic. And Paige was backstage. Paige is relevant again because her movie's done and, she's done promoting it. So now she can go back to WWE to promote it more because that's what you do. And said that she's bringing a tag team that will take down the Iconics. Is she bringing back Absolution? Or is she getting some people from NXT again? I hope it's Absolution. Bring them back. Get them back on the same page. Shane came out because he's the best in the world. And, basically said Miz had what he had coming. And so did his dad. And he keeps giving, I'm pretty sure it's Greg Hamilton, the announcer. He just keeps giving him shit. Just like, you need to introduce me with something. Just proud and I think vindication or something. And at one stage here, the crowd was chanting CM Punk. And Shane just looked at him and basically just said, really? Couldn't agree more. Get over it. It's been 5 years. He's not coming back. He's not relevant. No one gives a fuck about him anymore. And don't get me wrong, I like CM Punk. I do. But don't care about him anymore. He's not in WWE. So just, get over it. Stop chanting his name. It's pointless. It's like the dance break. It's just, no one cares. But you still believe. You're still idiots. You just think, okay, yes, he's coming back. But he's not. He's not. If he was going to come back, he would have done it 2016. He would have, woken up to himself, stopped having a cry, and he would have come back. But it's been 5 years. It's not going to happen. Lynch came out once again, and what she said on Raw, she said on Smackdown. What that was, I still don't know. I still don't care. But Lacey Evans came out again, and they got into another scrap. So, go Lacey Evans. You're doing more than just walking. The Usos defended their tag team titles against the Hardy Boys, which the Hardy Boys won. The Hardy Boys are tag team champions once again and creating a little history because they have now won, I'm pretty sure anyway, they have now won every single tag team championship belts in WWE since they started. It's good to see the Hardys back teaming. I don't like them when they're doing their singles. It's not bad, but it doesn't seem to work. Plus, there's too many wrestlers, so it's hard to sort of get everyone doing something. The Usos losing, this can only mean they're going to Raw. I think anyway. Yeah, I think they'll be going to Raw. And yeah, the 6-man main event happened. Not a lot happened. New Day won, obviously. McIntyre didn't do much. Actually, I don't even remember seeing him as part of that match. And more people missing. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Charlotte again. Mysterio wasn't there. So that's it's a bit weird that. So maybe they're all injured, or maybe they just they got too much TV time. So yeah, that was Smackdown. That was Smackdown. Now NXT, I watched briefly because basically it was the pre-show, I guess, for Takeover. So whatever happened before Takeover, that was NXT this week. Not a lot happened. Obviously, they got to edit a lot of shit because they announced that the Velveteen Dream and Buddy Murphy will be wrestling for the North American Championship next week. But that's all I took from NXT. Not a lot. Two dull weeks in a row. But they have done some NXT tapings. I don't know for how long, but from what I saw, there was a lot of matches on there. So maybe it was 2-3 weeks of that. Only thing really worth mentioning was the Street Profits won a tag team match. That's about it. And Mrs. Toolbag won a match as well. So yeah, not a lot. So NXT will obviously pick up again. That'll pick up again next week. Impact. I said I was going to do 2 weeks worth of Impact. I lied. I'm only doing one, which was last week because this week not much really happened. Last week was their Impact Special Against All Odds, which actually used to be a TNA pay-per-view. LAX came out and basically challenged the Lucha Bros, which ended in a massive fight between the two tag teams. And Conan, that's right, Conan, challenged the Lucha Bros to put their tag team titles on the line at Rebellion in a Full Metal Mayhem match, which is essentially a hardcore match. Why they have to come up with all these names for hardcore matches, beyond me. Disco Inferno, wrestling under his real name, Glenn Gilberti. He had a match against Scarlett Bordeaux, who's a female, so it was an intergender match. It was actually her wrestling debut as well, which she won. The commentary in this match is just fantastic. It sort of reminded me of Fuckwit and Ciampa when they had their matches. Every time Ciampa did something, he's just an evil piece of shit. But then when Toolbag was on the comeback, they're like, yeah, good for you, man. Like, you're doing it. Even though he was doing the same thing. Same thing here. Every time Inferno did something, he's gutless. He's got no heart. But when Bordeaux did something, she's amazing. It's fantastic. Don Callis, you're the man. Mrs. Impact, Taya Valkyrie, put her Knockouts title on the line against Jordan Grace. What do they call her? Big Mama Pump, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Big Mama Pump. Ripping off Big Pumper Pump, Scotty Steiner. Taya faked some broken ribs, so Johnny came out to make sure she was all right, and basically got her out of the match. And then Brian Cage came down and was chasing him around the ring, and then he got taken out by Killer Cross. And they had their match, and Cross did defeat Cage, but there was a bit of a dodgy finish. He kicked out on 2, but the referee still counted to 3. No one really knew what was going on. It was sort of similar to something that happened on Mania, but when it happened on Mania, it was just funny as fuck. Tessa Blanchard called out Gail Kim, because Gail Kim's been a bit of a bitch to Tessa lately. Tessa Blanchard in my opinion, is the best female wrestler in the world today. And she's only 23 or 24. But she is good. She needs to go elsewhere. Not WWE. Because nothing really good comes of that. When you've made a name for yourself outside. Gail Kim's coming out of retirement. And the two of them will have a match at Rebellion. And that is on in 3 weeks. So I'll be getting into that a bit more as well. And then it ended off with just some weird shit. There's this chick, Rosemary. She's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, she's got half her face painted and she's like a demon, I guess. And she's sort of taking her friend Ali to the demon side. I kind of, what was it, the something realm, the underworld realm or something like that. This segment can only be described as a horror soap opera. I mean, it was weird. They go into a coffin and then they sort of go down this elevator, like through the coffin to the underground realm or whatever it's called. And then there's just all these, zombies outside the ring and they're trying to like stab him and stuff. And basically Ali got killed. Freddy Krueger, like fucking spikes just straight through the neck, and she died. Like they literally killed her on TV. They only killed her off because Ali has signed with AEW, so they need to get her off TV. But I can't even describe it. But it all made sense at the end when Kevin Sullivan turned up. This has got Kevin Sullivan written all over it. So that was last week on Impact. Decent show, but the ending was just, I didn't even know what I was watching. This week on Impact, not much really happened. LAX had a tag team match against Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake. And the only reason I bring this up is because Eli Drake got fired, or his contract was terminated by Impact because he refused to wrestle Tessa Blanchard in an intergender match at United We Stand. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Eli Drake going forward. He's got the look. He's a good wrestler. He's got all the tools. And him and Eddie Edwards had only just started teaming up together and were actually doing really well as a tag team. Madison Rayne came back. She'd been off for like 6 months or something apparently, and demanded a title match, which ended up in her losing to Jordan Grace in a number one contender match. And Johnny Impact is with Killer Cross. It's obvious. It's been obvious for a couple of weeks that they've been working together. But it was basically shown, and Killer Cross said, I keep doing this for you. You owe me a title match, which he said, yes, of course. You're getting your title match. And yeah, that's about it from this week's Impact. But yeah, next week I'll talk about United We Stand. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called anyway. I've probably messed that up as well. I'll just have to have a look at that. But yeah, that was all the wrestling from this week. Yeah, like I said, couple of days, Takeover New York and Wrestlemania 35 review with myself and the Cake Brains. You won't want to miss that, especially with it'll be funny to hear what Mr. Chris has to say about it, because he's not too impressed with anything about WWE lately, so it's pretty funny. It's probably going to get the shits listened to this, but suck shit, Chris. Put you on the spot. Better be prepared, mate. So yeah, that'll be good. Takeover obviously was the show of all shows. Hopefully they do another takeover soon. Hopefully we don't have to wait till SummerSlam for another takeover. And then, we'll talk about Mania as well. And just everything that we found interesting about it or whatever. But other than that, I think that will wrap us up for another week of Circles and Blunt Pencils. Yep, that'll do it. Yeah, you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, get it out there, build an empire. Facebook, Circles and Blunt Pencils. Instagram, at Circles and Blunt Pencils. Twitter, at Circles and BP Pod. I'm Cake Champion for the Circles and Blunt Pencils podcast. And if you don't listen to the Takeover and Wrestlemania review, you're going to make the list!